In this lesson, you'll learn how to do layout for a newspaper type article that can be published or shared digitally as a PDF. Let me review with you what I've already done. This project or this file that you're looking at here can be downloaded from the course file, so you have a way to get started on your own. First of all, like most newspapers, I want to have a header across the top of the page. Now, the header is, of course, going to be on every sheet, and therefore I've turned to a master sheet in order to do that. So remember, you need to turn on the view of the master sheets in the menu bar, and then once you have items that are in your master sheet, you can modify them, edit them, change them, and place them where you need to have them, and all the changes that you make will ripple down into all the sheets that are in your document. So for a newspaper type of article like this, or a newspaper type project, I want to go ahead and use a master sheet and set it up so that as I go to each of the sheets in my document, I'll see the changes that will take place right there. I've got my masthead in place here now, and now I'm ready to switch over and work on the first actual page within my newsletter. Of course, I'm going to want a headline, and I've selected an art tool or the art text tool to do that, and of course that's on the toolbar under art text tool. Art text is really nice for doing these kind of headline things like this. Very easy. But now I want to work on the actual text that's going to appear in my article. Now, I've made this an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, make it easy to print. Gives me lots of room for all the text to go onto my article. And I'll do that with a couple of different ways. Let's take a look, first of all, at the way that you would use multiple columns in a layout text tool. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just click and then drag till I get the size that I want for the text that'll be in my document. Or maybe I want it to stop a little bit lower, but mostly what I'm doing with this page is I'm going to fill this page with text. Now, I've got some placeholder text that I'm going to just paste into place here. It's already on my clipboard, and there it goes. Now, you see automatically I get a scroll bar effect when there's more text than my box can handle. But the thing I want to talk about before we go into dealing with that issue is how you can split text like this into multiple columns in row. So with my text box selected, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select on the context editor. I'll go to the text setting, and then my box layout down here allows me to determine how many columns I'm going to have in my text and whether or not I want to have the scroll bar hidden, showing, or whatever the case may be. All right, now let's take a preview and see how that looks in our document. Okay, so in a document preview, and again we've got this one set as a PDF. In our document preview, we're going to see all that text flow down into the columns that we asked it to do, and give us a nice results right there within our Rome interface. Okay, so let's take a look now at how you might break things up on a page. You don't typically want to have all this great big long string of text like that. So unless you're doing work for the New York Times, and even they are going to have some pictures in there. So in our next part of this tutorial, we'll talk about how to flow information from one box to another. Project, you're going to want to have some images, particularly when you want to do something for print or to have a newsletter or newspaper as a final product that you're making for a class project. So it's easy to do this in Adobe Rome. We saw in the last little bit there how to do multiple columns, but you can actually draw out your own text boxes and then have the text flow from one box to the other using the layout text tool. Let's see how we do that. I've already positioned the images that I want to use for my article. I found these using the insert menu in the Google search or the image search function that comes built into Rome. So I've sized those and I've placed them sort of roughly where I want them to be in my layout. And now I'm ready to add my text. So I'll draw out my first text box, and again I'm going to use placeholder text just in the interest of time, and I'll paste that in place. Now the issue here is that it's obviously not going to fit. You can tell by the little scroll bar right there that I've got quite a bit more text that's going to go into that box. But not to worry, I'm going to add another text box above this picture. Again, I'll size that appropriately. And when I do that, and I use my select object and select the first text box, I'll see a small yellow circle appear at the bottom right edge of the text box. And what I can do now is I can just take that little yellow circle and drag it to the second box in my article. Now the text that wouldn't fit before will flow into this text box over here. And I can continue doing this. So down below my image here, I want to add another text box. I'll add that in place. I don't have any content for that box in particular, but I will allow the text to flow from box 2 now into box 3. And I'll finish up with my final column over on the right hand side, drag that out, and flow from box 3, using again a little indicator, to box 4. Alright, so when I preview here, I'm going to see a lot of kind of garbagey text, but that's okay, because what I'm really interested in is how my article flows. So in this case, I've got text that flows from one box to another, interspersed with the different images within my document. Just have rectangular pictures and rectangular text boxes on your document. Sometimes you want to have something that looks a little more visually appealing, and one of the things that really looks great is to have text that flows around an irregular shaped image. And that's what we're going to do here with this picture of the manatee. I want to have basically a box for my text to go into with a circular cutout that the image shows through. But it's not enough just to have the box. I need the text to behave itself properly as well. So I need it to flow around and maintain the edge of that text box. This is actually pretty easy to do because, again, some of the cool things that you can do with Roam. I'm going to start by drawing out a rectangle, and I can just draw this right on top of my image. I'm not really too concerned about the image quite at the moment. And then on top of that, I'm going to draw out the circle. This would be like the cutting object that I'm going to use to cut through the underlying box. So get that roughly in the position I want. And by holding down the Shift key, I can select my rectangle and have my circle selected at the same time. So I held down Shift, and you can see the bounding boxes here. That lets me know that both objects are selected. And now I'll go to the context editor, and under the combine paths option, I have this option right here that lets me minus the front or cut through the item underneath. Right? So there's my irregular shape. It's pretty close to what I want it to be. I can continue doing a little more work with it. Maybe I want to get it the right size I'm interested in. I can stretch it up a little bit, stretch it down. I'm just working with the shape right now. Eventually what I'm going to do here is once I have the shape the place I want it, I'll go to my context editor, and under the advanced options I have this option here that allows me to convert this shape to a text box. So I'm going to select on that. Now it still looks like the same shape, but now it's actually a gray text box. If I look at the context editor, I'll see that it's changed. And I want to double click until I see that ruler appear. Once I see the ruler appear, now I can paste in my text, or I can begin typing, as the case may be. I'm going to use good old paste just to make this easy. And you see now how the text flows around the object that's underneath it. And you can use this method for all sorts of different objects that you might want to create, different shapes that might be highly unusual. All you've got to do is create the shape. Once you have the shape created, then you can convert it to a text box, so that you have something that is more than just simple rectangles, squares, and a little bit boring. Project, you're going to want to use a printer, but a PDF file is appropriate also if you want to have a interactive document or something that you want to post on your website. So under the output menu here, you have the option for two different kinds of PDFs. The first type of PDF is just going to be your standard PDF. It's going to allow you to read and going to give you the ability to print. So nothing really special about this in terms of what you need to do or know. Simply go to PDF, click on Browse, go to the file or the folder location where you want to save this. You can add title, author, and subject if you choose to do so. And you can also set these options down at the bottom to get better file sizes or better quality depending on what you're after. You also have the option to go with an interactive PDF file. Interactive PDFs can include video and audio, can include some animations, and can be basically a whole self-contained little multimedia presentation entirely within a PDF file. Either way, you're going to be able to open these up in the Adobe Reader and have a look at them. This is my standard PDF that allows me to scroll through and print that out. And then I also have my interactive PDF, and that version has a little click-through kind of operation. So it lets me move through and do all those kind of things that I might want to do with a document that I create as a newsletter, print it out, or post it on the web. Whatever the case may be, PDF is the way to go for these kind of projects.